Welcome to Punctuation Takes a Vacation by Robin Pulver, illustrated by Lynn Rowe Reed. Here we are at the title page. That's right. Punctuation Takes a Vacation. Written by Robin Pulver. And we know that author writes the story, author writes the story, author writes the story. That's why she came first. And illustrated by Lynn Rowe Reed. And we know that illustrators illustrate, illustrators illustrate, illustrators illustrate, which means she made the pictures. For punctuation takes a vacation. Day after day, the punctuation marks showed up in Mr. Wright's classroom. Day after day, they did their jobs. They put up with being erased and replaced and corrected and ignored and moved around. Then, on the stickiest, hottest day the class had ever seen, right in the middle of a lesson about commas, Mr. Wright mopped his forehead and said, "Whew, let's give punctuation a vacation." As the kids cheered and headed for the playground to cool off, "Yay, woohoo, all right!" The punctuation marks stared at one another in disbelief. Huh? What? Wait. Huh? Is this the thanks we get? Asked a question mark. Well, huffed an exclamation point. Now, said a comma. We should take a vacation, said the period. They'll soon learn how much they need us. It's 11 o'clock now, said a colon. Let's leave at 11:02. Great, said an exclamation point. Don't leave without us, yelled the apostrophes. Whoosh! Punctuation rushed out the door. And whoosh! They rushed back in to grab the quotation marks who were too busy talking to pay attention. Come on, quotation marks. When Mr. Wright's class returned from the playground, they couldn't wait to find out what happened in Chapter 4 of their book, Ace Scooper, Dog Detective. Mr. Wright opened his mouth to read. Then he stopped and stared. This is weird. The punctuation is missing. Where could it be? Yikes, maybe punctuation took a vacation. We are in big trouble now. Wow, it really does make a big difference when you have punctuation in your words and sentences. Oh my goodness. Mr. Wright was right. Nothing made sense without punctuation. A couple of days later, the school secretary delivered a small bundle of postcards to Mr. Wright's class. They were postmarked, "Take a Break, Lake." Do you miss us? How much? Why couldn't we take a vacation sooner? Guess who? We flop, we plop, we stop, we stay in our lounge chairs. We are happy thinking our complete thoughts. Thoughtfully yours, Sentence Stoppers. Dear friends, swimming, sailing, sunning, soaring, water skiing. Next time we must remember bug spray, toothpaste, flashlight, water shoes. Sincerely, list makers. Greetings to Mr. Wright's class. This postcard doesn't take the place of a letter. If anybody takes the place of a letter, that's us. It's our job. We know we're possessive, but that's the way we are. Don't forget us while we're gone. Substitutes. A big hello from Vacation Paradise, where the water is as clear as a well-punctuated sentence. We talk all day, we talk all night. Too busy talking to write anymore. The Yakety Yaks. Kids, writing this on schedule at 1:15. Yummy lunch at 11:55. Going swimming at 3 sharp. The timekeepers. Wow! What a ride! You should try tubing. Scary. Fun. Yikes! Hold on. We want Mommy. Emotional us. The kids guessed who wrote the postcards, and they wanted to write back, but they couldn't write without punctuation. The best they could do was borrow some from Mr. Rongo's class next door, where punctuation seemed to be, wow, running wild. Dear punctuation, please come back. We need you. We miss you too. Life at school is difficult without you. We can't do reading, writing, or riddles without punctuation. Chapter 4 of our book, Ace. Scooper. Doesn't make sense. We will never take punctuation for granted again. Won't you please come back before 1,000 on Friday? Mr. Wright says, punctuation, please come home. Sincerely, Miss Wright's class. Wow, that does make a difference, doesn't it? Mr. Wright's class, punctuation, take a break late. Urgent, hurry! So the punctuation marks returned to Mr. Wright's classroom to do the jobs only they could do. Mr. Rongo's unruly punctuation scrambled back to their own classroom. We have so much to tell you. Who did you miss the most? It's good to be back in Mr. Wright's class. Commas, periods, exclamation points, question marks, colons, apostrophes, quotation marks. Take your places. 10 a.m. Time to study us. Hooray for punctuation. The end. So here are some punctuation rules. Quotation marks belong at the beginning and end of words a person speaks. The question mark comes at the end of a question. A comma is used to separate each item in a series or list. A comma also separates two complete thoughts in a sentence. Use an exclamation point after a word or sentence that expresses strong feelings. An apostrophe takes the place of a letter and changes two words into one word. An apostrophe is used with the letter S to show ownership or possession. The colon lets you know what time it is. It separates the big guys, the hours, from the little guys, the minutes. The period is the stop sign at the end of a sentence or a complete thought. It is also used in abbreviations. Punctuation marks work together to make reading and writing flow smoothly. Mr. Wright said, "Thank you very much," when we gave him a t-shirt from Take a Break Lake. Did anybody find where my missing flip-flop? Where could it be? That's question marks, flip-flop. I didn't know it was in my suitcase. I collected shells, stones, blisters, pine cones, feathers, and bug bites. It was fun, but I am so tired. Hey, look! Great photos of us at Take a Break Lake. This photo is of me. I stopped 2 sentences from crashing into each other at the corner of Bay St. and Lake Avenue. Gosh, it's 2:15. Time to return the library book I took on vacation. So now that we heard all their punctuation, what do you think they were? So, punctuation marks. Up here, Mr. Wright says it. Punctuation marks work together and to make reading and writing flow smoothly. Now, that's the end of a statement, right? So, what do you see right there? That's correct. A period. End of statement. Now, these guys right here, they were the quotation marks. That's right. So, when Mr. Wright speaks, then they are used, right? So it said, Mr. Wright said, quotation mark, see it right there? Thank you very much. And then when he's quit speaking, there's the other one. So you have to have a pair of them because otherwise you'll just keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. So that says when you begin to speak and then when you end what you're saying. So he said, thank you very much. So one on one end and one on the other. When we gave him the shirt, gave him a t-shirt from Take a Break Lake. Now, this guy right here is the question mark. So he is asking a lot of questions. You're right. Did anybody find my missing flip-flop? Question mark. Where, oh, where could it be? Question mark. Now, that's question marks flip-flop. I didn't know it was in my suitcase. So, this is the apostrophe right there, and it is possessive, which means that's question marks flip-flop, which means the flip-flop is owned by or possessed by question mark. So that's question marks flip-flop. And it's in, I didn't know it's in my suitcase. So that means it was in her suitcase. It is in my suitcase. So it was taking away a word. So then you needed to have the S, not because it belonged to it, but because you were eliminating or getting rid of one of the letters. So it is in my suitcase or it's in my suitcase. That's a very handy apostrophe. Now we have the comma, and commas are good list makers. Do you remember that? And so the comma is telling us I collected shells, stones, blisters, pine cones, feathers, and bug bites. So there are 6 things in the commas list. Shells, comma, stones, comma, blisters, comma, pine cones, comma, feathers, comma, and bug bites. It was so fun, but I'm so tired. Now that was, you could have put a period and said it was fun, period. I am so tired, period. But you put it in here with this word but, which means you needed, you got it, a comma to connect 2 sentences together. It was fun, but I'm so tired. Good job. Now we have this guy right here. Exclamation point. Woohoo! When you're excited, you use an exclamation point. So when you see it, it says, hey, look, great photos of us at Take a Break Lake. Lots of exclamation points. And then you have the period. Not only does a period help you express a complete thought, but it also helps you to know when you abbreviated. In this case, it was street, and in this case, it was avenue. So this is a photo of me, period. End of your thought. I stopped two sentences from crashing into each other at the corner of Bay Street and Lake Avenue because you used an abbreviation instead of spelling out street and avenue. And lastly, we have these friends, the colon right there. Gosh, it's 2:15. If the colon wasn't in to tell us that it was time from your hours to your minutes, remember your big guys versus your little guys, we would just say, gosh, it's 215. Is it 215? No, it's 2:15. 2 hours, 15 minutes. Time to return the library book I took on vacation. And it's time for me to close this book for today. I hope you enjoyed Punctuation Takes a Vacation.